We use money every single day. But have you ever stopped to ask, what is it really? It feels so solid, so real, almost like a force of nature. But the truth is, it's actually built on a bunch of powerful, often hidden stories. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to uncover those stories and see just how much they shape, well, everything. I mean, think about that. They are not facts of nature. They are stories. We totally treat money like it's a fact of life, don't we? Like gravity or the weather. But it's not. It's just a story we all agree on. And wow, is it a powerful one. It's a collective belief that has massive, real-world consequences for every single one of us. And here's the thing. These stories aren't just harmless bits of folklore. No, they do some serious work. They justify the economic system we have right now, making all its problems, the inequalities, the instability, feel kinda inevitable. Like this is just the way things have to be. And that makes it so hard to even imagine a different way of doing things. But, and this is the key, once you see them as just stories, well, that means we can start telling a new one. All right, let's dive into the first and probably the most famous story of all. This is the one you almost definitely heard about in school. It's the myth of barter. The classic, and as we're about to see, deeply flawed origin story for money. So the textbook tale is pretty simple, right? You have grain, I have meat, it's a pain to trade, so ta-da, we invent money to make it all easier. But the real story? Whoa, it's completely different. The gap here is just massive. Here's the part that really blew my mind when I first learned it. Anthropologists have found literally zero evidence of a society that actually ran on barter before money came along. None. Instead, what they found was that early economies were all about gift-giving, relationships, and basically a kind of shared social IOU system. Yeah, this quote just nails it. Barter is not money's ancestor, it is its emergency substitute. It's not the thing that came before money, it's what people fall back on when a money system completely collapses. Think about a big economic crisis or after a war. That's when you see people trading chickens for shoes. It's an emergency backup plan, not the original blueprint. Okay, so this raises a really important question, doesn't it? If the whole money was invented to solve barter story is just not true, then where did the logic of our current system come from? What other stories are holding this whole thing up? Well, that brings us to the next big one. And this next myth, it goes way deeper. This isn't just a story about money anymore. This is a story we tell ourselves about, well, ourselves, about human nature. It's the idea that deep down we're all just selfish creatures, driven only by our own personal gain. So if you look at a lot of modern economics, it's built on this idea of rational self-interest, that we're all just out for ourselves. But the thing is, when you look at actual human history, the reality was cooperation. For thousands and thousands of years, mutual aid wasn't just some nice, fuzzy idea. It was absolutely essential for survival. I mean, think about it. Communities that didn't help each other out, that didn't share, they just didn't make it. And this is where it gets really tricky. This whole myth of selfishness, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. When you build an entire economic system that's based on the assumption of distrust and competition, you literally force people to act that way, just to get by. The system itself ends up creating the very behavior it claims is just natural. It's a really powerful loop. So, if our systems don't have to be based on this dog-eat-dog competition, what's a real working alternative? And this is where things start to get really interesting. There are actually a bunch of different models out there, but I want to focus on one in particular, one that's built on a completely different story, a story of trust. All right, let's take a look at an alternative that really flips the script. It's called a mutual credit system. And at its core, it's designed to replace scarcity and competition with trust and cooperation. So what is mutual credit? Well, the key idea is pretty radical. It's that money isn't something you have to go out and get before you can do business. Instead, in a mutual credit system, the members of a community actually create their own way of exchanging things right when they need it, all based on shared trust and a transparent record book. Okay, let me walk you through a super simple example of how this works. Let's say I'm a baker and you're a bike mechanic. You fix my bike. Instead of me paying you cash, my account on our community ledger just goes to, say, -10, and your account goes to +10. Boom, that's it. No physical money had to exist beforehand for that to happen. We literally just created the credit at the moment of the exchange. And this isn't some sci-fi idea. There are systems like this running in communities all over the world right now. And when you put the two systems side by side, the differences are just huge. Our current money is created by banks as debt that has interest on it. That basically builds a need for constant, endless growth right into the system. But mutual credit? It's just created to help people trade with each other. The whole point isn't to pile up profit, it's to keep values circulating and to help people in the community get what they need.
And really, this is the crucial point. It's a fundamental shift in thinking. Money stops being a thing to be hoarded, like a commodity, and it becomes what it was probably always meant to be, just a simple measurement tool, a way for us to keep track of the promises we make to each other.
So, why does any of this matter? Why spend all this time debunking these old stories? Well, because these myths do more than just explain the past. They actually limit our imagination for the future. They keep us feeling locked into a system that, for a lot of people, just isn't working. When you look at an alternative like mutual credit, it suddenly reveals all these incredible possibilities. It shows us that, yeah, communities can create their own ways to trade, that trust can be the foundation of an economy, not coercion, and crucially, that we don't have to be completely dependent on a system of debt-based money created by banks. And this brings us to what might be the most powerful, most limiting myth of them all. The belief that we have no choice, that this is just the way it is. But that idea, the whole "there is no alternative" line, that's just another story. And the existence of things like mutual credit systems working right now in the real world is living proof that we absolutely do have a choice. So, I want to leave you with a question to chew on. Money is just a story. It's a social technology, an agreement we all make. And if we, collectively, have the power to change that story, to write a new one, based on trust and cooperation instead of scarcity and competition, what new future can we finally afford to imagine?